So first of all, to everyone who's tuning in, welcome to Loyalty in the Era of Influencing in Web3, hosted by Cultos. We're super excited to have everyone join us today, and we have some amazing guests on the panel. So to kind of just set things up, first of all, to everyone who's tuning in this live stream, we're going to talk about the different ways that creators, brands, and even metaverse games are adopting Web3 to engage their audiences and customers. So to begin, I'll just kind of introduce myself, and then we can go around and have everyone introduce themselves as well, maybe starting with Jason and then Novian. So my name's Andrew Yang, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Cultos. We're a Web3 rewards platform. We enable any brand, creator, influencer to bring rewards and loyalty to Web3, launch their own branded token, and use it to reward their amazing fans, followers, and customers for pretty much any action which helps the brand out in various ways. So I'll hand it over to Jason to introduce himself, and then Novian, you can go ahead as well, and then we can get started.
Thanks, Andrew. My name is Jason Larian. I am head of new business development at NGA Entertainment. We're a toy company with a few brands. One of them, which is most recently that you might have heard of, is Hello Surprise. We also created Brats. We also own Little Tykes and Baby Born. I am $100 million plus brands. We pride ourselves in creating new IP in the certain toy space, and we've done that consistently year over year, and we do more. So thanks for having us.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason.
Hey everybody, my name is Novian Cherry. I'm a social media influencer, ex-pro athlete, also entertainer.
Head of new business development at NGA Entertainment.
On TikTok for about a year and a half, have over 6 million followers. I've worked with a lot of brands, and recently starting to work with games and things in the metaverse. So it's been a blessing, to be an influencer and to connect with my audience. And I'm here to talk about just the different things between that brands and influencers go through, and how Web3 can be used as a better platform to just express myself in a better manner, to let people really see the side of the influencer that Web2 doesn't. So yeah, I'm happy. Thank you, Andrew and Jason, for allowing me to be on this panel, and I'm excited to share what I have.
Awesome. Well, super excited to have you both. Let's kick it off with the first question. So Jason, Novian, what are some examples of how influencers and brands think about successfully, connecting and engaging today's younger generation, whether it's Gen Z or Gen Alpha? Maybe we can start with Jason, just to kind of give us an answer from the MGA perspective.
How are we connected with Gen?
Yep, exactly.
Well,
Yep.
so through TikTok, through social media, and it's much more ubiquitous. I mean, I think that before, where you had culture and the way it was much more segmented to a specific region or a specific country or state, now you have memes that that spread nationwide. Global cultures. You have a culture that is not land-based or geographically based specifically, which is really interesting in a lot of different ways. I mean, so I think connecting via social media much more. I think that back in the day, with the way we connected with our fans, which is a lot of traditional TV. You had Nickelodeon, which was the biggest child television show back in the day, and that's no longer there. Now kids are connecting on YouTube, on different streaming services with different kids networks, Disney Plus. So it's a lot, a lot more bifurcated. Another thing was, physically, you had Toys R Us, which was almost the mecca of toys for kids, and that has gone bankrupt. So, but before then, it was an experiential event. You would go in and really, have a destination where you can actually play around with toys. So, in the absence of that, we are experimenting a lot with in-person activations, creating our own versions of the entertainment via shopping via entertainment kind of experiment that we've been doing, that is kind of left a big void. And then the third is, gaming. Kids are playing games much earlier on, and it's to a much wider audience. Roblox is just another example of, that phenomenon, and I think that's going to continue to grow. So being in all those kind of categories is going to probably help us get us connected more with our fans these days.
Awesome. Novian, you're an influencer on TikTok. You've got millions of followers. Obviously, I think by nature of them just being on TikTok, they will trend, younger Gen Z. You're also on Roblox as a streamer as well. How do you think, what's important from your perspective to keeping your audience, knowing they're in that demographic engaged, whether it's on TikTok, whether it's on Roblox? How are you thinking about it, and what's important to kind of keep in mind from your perspective?
I think since I'm a millennial and I'm not Gen Z, a big thing for me is staying up to date with what's going on, what's trending, what my followers like. Because there's always new games coming out, because the world is changing and things are getting more advanced. But just staying up to date as an influencer, you got to know what your followers are, what they're interested in, and kind of gravitate your content towards that. How back in the day, like what Jason was saying, we used to watch TV, we used to do a lot of in-person things, but if you stay up to date with what they're into, it just makes that connection much more, especially coming from me, because I'm way much older than my followers. But if they can see that I can relate to them, it just makes their experience much better. It's like, okay, he's actually tuned in to, what we like, what we're interested in. And that's the biggest connection for me. And that's the way I connect with my followers. So staying up to date is number one.
Awesome. And how are you both thinking about Web3, I guess, from your various perspectives? So for Novian, for you, do you think about Web3 as a creator in terms of monetization of content, or the ability to kind of give something that's unique to your followers and engage them more deeply in that way? How are you thinking about, what does Web3 mean to you as an influencer, and how do you think about using it?
Web3 is when I first started to hear about Web3, I was just amazed by it, because it allows you to tap into the things that your followers don't know you for. Certain creators, in the creator world, people tell you to have a niche so much so people can recognize you for something. But Web3 is not niche based. It's more of what you want to show. For instance, I do a lot of comedy on my TikTok, and if I post my music on it, the algorithm might not pick it up, or my fans might not pick it up because it's different for them. And Web3 just, it cuts out the middleman kind of, because the algorithm not show all my content to my fans, but Web3 is no algorithm. It's just you and your fans. It's just a platform where you can express yourself. You can say, hey, I do more than comedy. I used to play basketball. I do music. Hey, check this out. So it's just I feel like it gives the creator a space where we can be more personal and show things that, to let your fans see a different side of you. And when it in regards to like monetization as well, I feel like it'd be a good way for brands that don't see you as in a different light, on your social media page. They might not know I'm athletic because I don't post that I'm athletic, but on a Web3 platform, I can get into different things that I might shy away from on my TikTok account, because I know if I post this, then my fans might not be able to see it, or they might not gravitate towards it because they don't know me as that. So it's really just opening up another door for the influencers, for brands. So Web3 is like a big thing, and I'm really excited about it because I want to show more than what I show on Web2 and on social media.
That's awesome. It sounds like for you, Web3 is almost a way to have more freedom in terms of the types of content you can use to engage your followers and engage them in a more kind of deeper and meaningful way, which is pretty cool. Jason, pretty much the same question for you. How is MGA thinking about Web3? Does it present an opportunity through new technologies or what it enables to engage MGA customers across the various brands in a different way or more deeply? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, with Web3, there is a lot of opportunities. Again, it's so early, it's hard to figure out what's going to shake out, but the ones that we really see is compelling and interesting is, one is just from a loyalty standpoint, being able to reward your fans with something that is, easily exchangeable and may have value outside of just our ecosystem. That's something that is, more very compelling. Another one is being able to authenticate, our toys in a way that is very hard to copy and very hard to forge, especially for our collector community. That's very important. Third one, which is I think is a bigger push, which is something that can be really compelling if all of this come together, is the ability to give the tools of creation to our fans to help drive the development and the ownership over some of the new IP we create. I think that is really interesting. I think that before Web3, that proposition was something that was a lot more difficult and cumbersome to execute, but with blockchain we were able to do something. It makes that a reality. So figuring out ways to involve our customers in the process, I think will create a lot of deep ties to our IP and also a lot of longevity. So I think those two things are considered thought process.
No, that's super interesting. I know that MGA has had several games in Roblox, for example, which is a game that obviously Novian's on as well. Do metaverses like that fit into the way you're thinking about Web3 in terms of customers being able to get more creative with the IP that MGA creates and be able to kind of become creative themselves? Do you think there's a place to kind of bridge together these different metaverses, internal to MGA and external as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think it just comes down to some technical challenges, and it has to do, it also comes down to, different companies or different games kind of creating some sort of standard which allows people to share information back and forth. I think, conceptually it makes sense, but the really levels can be down to how it works practically from a technical standpoint. Especially in these 3D games, this is something that I've learned and a lot of game developers, know intimately, is that it's an art, and no one paints with the same. Even if you have the same paintbrush, you're not painting with it. You're not using the same strokes, and having those be interchangeable is a very difficult proposition and something that I know a lot of people are trying to tackle, and we'll see where it goes. But I think that ultimately what's important is that there is a lot of use. You know, again, we talk about this thing called, everyone talks about utility. There needs to be a lot of use for these, you know, called digital toys, you know, beyond just what you can do on Web2. So thinking about how can we do, what does Web3 enable that Web2 couldn't do? And how does that change the experience? And that's really what we're looking at.
Interesting. So it sounds like the takeaway is it comes down to making sure the right technologies are in place so that any of this can even be possible to begin with, and then ensuring there's enough utility to justify kind of the introduction of Web3. And
Yeah, but it's not just the technology being there. It has to be usable. It has to be, you know, seamless. I think that right now you have a pretty cumbersome user experience, which makes it very difficult and creates a high barrier of entry for a lot of people. And especially when you're talking about kids who, in a lot of ways, might be easier to onboard into this kind of world, but also a lot of ways harder because, you know, you need parent permission, you need parent sign-in. Also, you want to make sure that, you know, they're in a safe environment and, you know, it doesn't bug out on you when you least expect it, because kids have a very short attention span, and if you lose their attention for 1 minute, they're off the next.
right. Absolutely. Novian, on the subject of utility and kind of making sure there's a reason to have Web3 and it's actually providing some value. If you introduce it to your audience, or if you use it yourself as a creator, how do you think about Web3 and being able to help creators like yourself, you know, monetize their content more effectively, or even monetize their audience maybe in a way that was more difficult to do before?
I would say, like, you know, social tokens, NFTs, smart contracts, stuff like that. It just allows, it's not a one-way street where the creator is just benefiting from something. It's like the brand, the audience, the creators, everyone is benefiting from Web3. You know, because Web2 is kind of like it's either or. Sometimes, you know, like a big thing for me, like I try to show as much love as I can um, on social media. So like I'm known as like one of the verified creators that follow back. So it's my way of giving back on TikTok. You know, just commenting, whether that's commenting, liking my followers' posts, just anything I can do. And I think Web3 allowed me to do much more than just the standard. Because, you know, if I have my own token, it just allows them to be a part of something. It's like a community. So maybe they can help me launch some new items, or, you know, help me with content, you know, what they want to see, or, you know, just a different side that, you know, I can't do on Web2. So I'm definitely excited, you know, for Web3, because it's more than just the creator. It's everybody. Everybody wins.
Oh, that's awesome. On kind of going off of what you just said, what are some of the ways do you think creators generally make their followers feel connected to them, or give them a sense of getting something exclusive right now? And do you think Web3 could help, you know, elevate that even further?
Yeah, I think a way like merch, people feel exclusive with merch. Whether you see like on social media now, they're doing subscriptions where you post like different content on your subscriptions, where, you know, it allows people to go more in depth of who you are, and, you know, maybe the behind the scenes, you know, people like to see that. But Web3, it's like a platform where you can honestly just be yourself. You know, it's more real, it seems like, because you have to be a certain way on social media, like I said, or your videos won't do good, or people won't, the algorithm may not pick it up. But Web3 is more personal. You know, it's inviting people to really get to know you as a person, rather than what they see. It's not commercial. You know, it's more like personal. So I think it'd be better for, like the fan creator relationship, because it's like they'll like Web3 will make them feel like they're a part of something, and everybody just wants to be a part of something. So I just think that'll open up a lot of doors for, from the fan experience to the creator experience to the brand experience. Like everybody can share that different experience that they can't necessarily have on Web2.
Got it. And Jason, how's MGA thinking about in the grander scheme of things when it comes to the eventual metaverse and introduction of Web3 technologies to reward fans, engage them? What role do you think creators play in the space? Like, are they marketing partners to promote products within the metaverse to the audiences that that MGA shares with them, or do they go beyond that? And also, how do you think about the average user or kid eventually becoming a creator and potentially an influencer themselves? From the perspective of a scoreboard within these different virtual worlds, or the popularity of the items that they leverage MGA IP to create and share.
Yeah, I think that creators, I think everybody is a creator. You just kind of enable them to create and express what they have to do. So I think we see a lot of this happening already. You have social media that's allowed a lot of people to kind of break through. YouTube, you kind of democratize a lot of these, ways of expressing. And this is just the next level of that. So I think as we grow more and more, as this becomes more prevalent, it's just going to be, creators are not only just, partners, but they're also a core part of your, brand. So it's how do you integrate them into the ecosystem that you guys are building, that you're building.
Got it. No, that makes sense. Do you think there's a way to, going even beyond creativity, leverage Web3 within any MGA apps or even external games, like talking about Roblox, for example, that potentially leverage Web3 tech in the future to not just give kids a new way to be creative or become creative themselves, but also maybe even educate them or incentivize things that the parents like? Like, do you think there's that kind of education aspect that the incentives from Web3 can drive as well for kids?
Oh yeah, I think that, we talked about like the chores app stuff. It's basically, you are teaching them what Web3 is about by also incentivizing them to do things that they always do, but rewarding them in a different way. So, you're kind of showing the power of this new platform, but you're spoon feeding that to them. You're not flooding them with the information. And as they get more and more used to it, first you give them tokens, the tokens they can use to spend on things. It's one step removed from a loyalty card, right? So then they use that for stuff that they're already used to, which is, buying things online, playing games online, etc. Then the next level of that, okay, now what you can do, you can buy NFTs with this. Okay, what's an NFT? It's a character that is one of one. I can take these NFTs, I can split them up, mix and match, and make something brand new out of that and mint that as my own and be part of this network. Now I have a new character in this brand, using the tools and the, the pieces of artwork that we created. And then then the next level is okay, now that we've done that, let's give them tools to create their own fashions, own artwork. Then take what they create, turn it into an animated series, whatnot. So there's levels. I think the first step is really getting used to, tokens and wallets, and doing that by tying them with things that they already do day to day. Like one is, tracking chores. The parents track chores, you reward them, but instead of rewarding them with actual money, you reward them with tokens.
That's really interesting. It almost sounded like you were talking about bridging even into like movies and TV shows, and stuff like that, and kind of making that a two-way engagement instead of just a kid just passively consuming and watching a show. Is that sort of, is that along the lines of what you were talking about? Can you kind of maybe expand a little bit into what you're
Yeah.
thinking there?
Yeah, exactly. It's, two-way engagement, which is basically, it's not just we are giving them, we're connecting with our customers with IP. And then they're taking that IP and repackaging it and having new uses with that. And that it guides our progress and how the brand itself develops. That makes
Got
sense.
it. No, that makes complete sense. Novian, when it comes to, you mentioned earlier something I want to kind of come back to you about how Web3 enables a creator to kind of strip away the middleman or like intermediaries, whoever stands in between. Do you think Web3 enables some creators to kind of shift or change the sort of agency model that a lot of influencers have? Or do you think this is something that will coexist with agencies and just make the business relationship between influencers and agencies kind of more efficient? Or do you think it'll completely disrupt the way that currently works? What are your thoughts there?
I think influencers, yeah, if you had a platform where there were an audience, your fans, brands that you need to connect with, where you can, like Jason was saying, you can go even take it a step further, with your creativeness. You might not need an agency, because it's like we still don't even have like an app or a platform where it's the audience, the creators, the brand, and it's no person that's looking for stuff for you. It's like brands find the creators show what they create. And like, it's crazy because you guys are saying like even fans turn into creators turn into influencers. It's like a whole step process where, yeah, you wouldn't need a agency to find you things because it's all on that platform. So it will knock out the middleman, and it'll just be straight conversations between the two parties where it's like you don't need to pay that, have somebody that's getting that 20% from what they're finding you, because the brand can find you themselves, or you can find the brand that you want to work with. So yeah, that's next level right there, because I've still, I've been on social media for, like the last 2.5 years, and I still haven't had a platform where it eliminates the middleman. Web3 is definitely one that can do that, given the circumstances. But it's interesting to see, and I'm excited to see how that would, play out.
That's a super interesting take, and maybe, who knows, we'll see them all kind of shift, and there'll be less and less platforms where middlemen are needed and creators can engage their audience directly. That's we'll see what happens. What are some tools that make it easy for creators to move into Web3 right now? Like, what would you recommend for a creator or another influencer who's kind of thinking about this to experiment and get started themselves?
I think social tokens, NFTs, smart contracts, it just provides creators like with copyright, and allows like them to be like very unique, and it gives them an opportunity to monetize. Like, I'm still dealing with this right now. Like on TikTok, you can't even really monetize because like they have a creator program on TikTok where you post your videos and then they pay you for your views, but it's not really monetizing because they're paying you like really small, and then you don't know, it kind of messes with your head because you don't know if they're messing with your views because they don't want to pay you so much.
Right.
So it's like, you really got to monetize, like Web3 will really allow you to monetize your stuff, and it just really puts the creator in the driver's seat where you don't have to post at a certain time, maybe because of the algorithm, or you don't have to, really watch what kind of content that you post, because, you know, it's just you and the audience. There's nothing else. And you can monetize by, like you said, with tokens and things like that, where it's really eliminating like the dollar kind of, and making it your own type of money. So it's like, if you have your own token, you have your own money, whatever, and you incentivize it in different ways for your audience, it just really puts you in the driver's seat for everything. And we haven't really had that chance to really monetize, like a platform where we can really monetize, like, I got 6 million followers. Why can I have just a platform where my followers can see everything that I post, or, where I can choose to, it's a lot of limitations right now. And I feel like Web3 is going to eliminate all of that, so we got our hand, we're in shackles right now, but, Web3 is going to get us out of there, hopefully.
That's super interesting, and that actually made me think about another question, kind of related to the limitations of TikTok. Like you were saying, like what do you and what do other creators or influencers who are on TikTok, for example, use right now to understand who your audience actually is? Like, does TikTok kind of give you good insights that it allows you to engage them effectively and know who they are? Because one of the big kind of conversation topics right now is cookies disappearing, social media platforms like TikTok, Instagram, kind of catching some heat for tracking too much potentially.
Right.
But with Web3 and, wallets and followers having a reason to kind of tell you who they are, like give up their data, because that's how they get the wallet, that's how they get the tokens. You might be able to engage them more effectively by knowing who they are. Do you think that's something that's valuable for influencers in the future, or do Web2 technologies like social media platforms today already provide you with that? What are your kind of thoughts?
Web2 social media doesn't really technically provide you with all of that. I usually base it off of my posts and how well they do, and how, like, the comments, how well they engage in the things, or, going live and talking to them, just finding out, just getting to know your followers. That's a big thing. But as far as like the demographics, the insights that they provide, they're very vague. They give you some numbers. You don't really know. Like on my TikTok, I got United States, Australia, like I got countries. I want to know where these people are. I want to know what state they're in. I want to know how old they are. I want to get to know them, like, on a personal level, where it's like, it's more meaningful, and it just allows you to make better content when you know your audience. When you truly know your audience, your content can go from here to here, because it's not like trial and error, because you already know what they like. It's like having the answers to the test already. So as a creator right now, it's allowing us to be more creative, because we don't know, typically, like, we know the demographics of our audience, but we don't really know our audience like that. So we're being more creative with trials and errors and seeing what's working, past like I said, the algorithm and stuff like that. But, I think Web3 will allow us to get to know our audience more, and it'll just allow us to be more creative, because it's like, we know what you want to see. So therefore we're going to put out that energy, put out those creative ideas, just to keep them more engaged. It'll be more of a experience. It's all about experience. And from a creator standpoint, it'll allow us to feel more, accomplished when our audience is giving good feedback about our creative ways. And from an audience perspective, it's like, okay, like, we're tuning into your next post because we already know what kind of content that you're making, and we're engaged because we're interested. Like how I used to watch Dragon Ball Z back in the day, and that was my stuff. And I would look at I'm watching the ending of the show just to show what's coming up next, because I'm interested. They got me, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like if we have that, if we can know what our audience likes, it can fully prepare us, equip us with more ideas. Like, okay, I might try this, or I might try this, just based off of the feedback that we're getting. And we don't have that right now.
That's super interesting. Jason, same question for you from an MGA perspective. I know MGA sells a lot of inventory through, third-party retailers and distributors. In terms of being able to capture exactly who the customer is on the other end, actually purchasing the toys, do you think Web3 provides any advantages there by giving them a reason to tell you who they are so you can engage them more effectively?
Yeah, I think obviously if they have our tokens, if they're bought into the platform, having us telling us who they are helps them, tailor products to them more in a more specific way. So yeah, I think that again goes back to, utility. If they get a lot of utility out of it, if they're actually engaged in the brand, if they're able to, the more freedom of expression you give them, the more valuable it is. The more access they get within this, the more valuable it is. And then it creates I would say, a virtuous cycle in that sense. It's almost like a mass recruiting tool. So instead of having it just be our creative team up in Chatsworth, it's the whole entire ecosystem of customers that we have and fans that end up having buy-in, having a stake in the outcome.
Makes complete sense. Well, guys, we're coming up to the end of the stream. So I want to thank you, Jason. Thank you, Novian, for both joining us. And to anyone tuning in, I hope you found it insightful, useful. And appreciate all of you guys taking the time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.
All right. Have a good one.